Okay, guys, welcome to the first episode ever of Coffee with Kyra. I'm nervous too, so we're in it together. That is Oswald.
You'll see him jumping up and down. Get down.
Today we are joined, in my opinion, by one of the coolest guys to walk this earth.
I'm sorry, I can put my glasses on for this.
You don't need your damn glasses. Put the glasses, Daddy. Put the glasses down. You look good though.
Thank you.
Some of you may know him as your favorite TikTok dad that loves his kids, but even more is obsessed with, AKA my mom.
Obsessed.
How long have you been married?
We have been married for 30 years and together for 34 wonderful years.
And he's 56, y'all. Like, what fountain of youth are you drinking?
June. I'll be 57.
That's crazy.
June.
But I feel like it's the love. I feel like when you're happy and in love, you just have a glow and you like age in reverse. To some, you may know him as that beta male from the Jubilee YouTube video.
What is a beta male?
I don't know.
What is a beta male?
As long as you're not the alpha, because I did not like what they were saying on that YouTube video.
Back in my day, it was about being an alpha male, but what is attached to right now these days?
Yeah.
Not about it.
You may know him, and that's probably how you came here, as the Greens from TikTok. And that one video that went crazy on the internet where he took out my weave, which is something that we've been doing since I asked him to start doing my hair. My mom is Caucasian, and she did not know properly, honestly, how to do my hair. My dad had a sister growing up. So he took some lessons from her, learned a little bit, and has taken care of my hair over the years, has given me braids, weaves, all that jazz.
I did all of it. But really, the reason I did it is because it's expensive. Hair is expensive, and the combination hair, people didn't know what to do with it, and you had to protect it, you know.
He also made me dresses growing up. Like, this man went above and beyond. I know him as the best dad a girl could ask for, and even more than that, you know, he was what we're going to talk about on here, which is, I think, something that's not spoken about a lot. There's not a lot of awareness around it. People always ask me, why do you say this in your videos? What does his sexuality have to do with anything? And that is true. If you want to be labelless, that's fine. Like, do you? But I like bringing visibility to especially bisexual men, which is what my dad is, because it's not spoken about a lot. And even as a bisexual woman myself, you know, I have my own issues of not having that visibility while I was growing up and seeing that. So in general, and I'm a little nervous with this podcast because it's my first time doing it.
It's nervous.
Something I know.
You guys don't know. Kyra is Kyra, but she's a little girl in our family who, when you're sitting and having a good time, will ask very probing questions. I mean, just straight, almost like a reporter, straight to it. And you're like, oh, so I'm a little nervous.
I just feel like I love learning about people, and yes, we are a very close family, as you guys see. Every day I feel like I learn more and more about people in my family, especially my dad. He's a very interesting person that's been through a lot in his life, had the guts to come out as a bisexual man, and honestly, it's the first person I came out to because I saw him in his truth and I wanted to do that as well. So I thank you for that. Lastly, before we get into the questions, I wanted to say thank you guys for clicking on this video and watching it, and probably, like I said, coming over from TikTok or Love Island if that's where you know me from. I really want you guys to get to know us more, for us to get to know you guys more, and just have honest conversations that we can all learn about each other, bring awareness to things that we all believe and care about, and have a good time and have some fun.
Only way to live. Okay, can I say, you know, the natural hair today? I took out my weave. Back in the day, you can say, if somebody, can I root you to feel if it's all yours? If it's all yours? You guys will probably see a different hairstyle in every podcast, every week, because that's what I do. I have a new personality every week, so my hair must match that change. Today it's all you.
Today, this is all me. I did straighten my hair, so it's not my natural curl.
No, it's beat out here.
I'll do that for an episode. Your girl used to have an afro.
You used to do that one time on here, doing the afro.
Oh, I'm going to do it all. Tell me in the comments what you guys want me to do hair-wise for the next episode. In general, I want to start out with just a wellness check. How are you feeling in this moment?
In this moment, I'm feeling the best I've ever felt in my life. I really am. I want to, first of all, not let anything steal my joy. Because, you know, being a dad and being, you know, a brother and being a husband, I'm not happy unless my people are happy. And I really realize that everything is usually okay. So I'm trying to understand that and let that be part of me. Don't let things destroy my peace. The other thing is to let go of control.
Let go of the things you can control. Very true.
Yeah, because, you know, I'm very open with my kids, but I think there was a part in their life where I felt them growing, and I wanted to hold on. You know, it's really hard from saying to you guys, don't burn your hand, to like, go live your life. You know, so I'm practicing releasing control. That's another thing. And I just feel as healthy. Your mother has me as healthy as I've ever been in my life. So I'm feeling good.
My mom takes the best care of him. So I get why you're obsessed, but I mean, you guys honestly take care of each other. That's going to be a whole nother episode, is my parents' love. Another episode is going to be about how we didn't get along for a while. But this episode is about bringing visibility to bisexual men and what my dad stands for and who he is and how much I've appreciated him for being himself, you know, and walking into a room. I remember being really little and he would come into like my classroom, say in kindergarten, painted nails, jewelry, dreads, and I would sometimes just be like, locks, I mean.
Sometimes pigtails.
And I would be so embarrassed. And I would even say to him, I would be like, Daddy, dads don't wear nail polish. Dads don't do this. Like none of the other dads are doing this. And I feel so bad to this day for doing that because you just always had the guts to live in your truth.
Yeah. Can I say something about the locks things really quickly? Because I saw you like corrected yourself. I understand what people say about locks versus dreadlocks because our hair should be nothing to be dreaded. Why am I dreading this? They're locks. But I just feel like, again, words mean different things in different generations. And me being 56, I remember my grandfather.
Yeah.
You know, my grandfather, the word colored. Back in the day, you didn't call someone black. You called them colored.
Yeah.
Like there was a fight. But now, in this day and age, if you call someone colored, it's more so a fight. So I think it's just where our generations like kind of separating what words mean to us.
Hey, and I think you're the one with them. So whatever you want.
I don't care.
And that's what, when it comes back to labels, is what I'm saying, guys, is live in your truth and be you. And if you don't have a support system or a family that you're close to, have a chosen family. I don't always mean that, you know, or come sit here with us for a couple minutes every week because this will be a weekly thing, and let's just chat and talk.
And questions, always questions, because then we'll answer them for you guys.
Always questions.
Okay, here we go.
All right. And as I always like to say, it's not for clicks, it's for awareness. And we want this to stay as safe a place for everyone as possible, including our guests and our friends behind the screen. So please stay respectful in the comments.
Please, guys.
Thank you. Did I miss anything in that introduction?
I don't think so.
Anything you want the people to know about you before we dive in?
No, you said it all perfectly. I'm a man who loves my family and is just living every day to try to be the best me I can be, and then to try to help other people be the best thing can be.
I love that. And lastly, if you hear little scurries, we have 2 cute chihuahuas with us.
You guys know the dogs in the family. If you follow us, you
they
know
might make a cameo.
Yeah, you know the chihuahuas are running around every place.
So, when did you... And as you guys know, if my dad is ever a guest on the show again, he will always have his glass of wine, but you know that from TikTok. Okay, first question. When did you first come out as a bisexual man?
Okay, and not be on the down low, as they call it back in the day.
Well, that's just the closet in this day.
You know, because all growing up, I knew at a very young age, and I was always a very person that was about sexuality. That's just what I love. And I always had a crush on a guy, and I always had a crush on a girl growing up. So, you know, if I was with a guy, he knew, but nobody else knew. And then if I was with a girl, I didn't say anything. I made a deal with myself when I graduated from high school when I was going way out of town, because I grew up in a very small town, Sunday church every week. And so when I went away to school, a different state, I was like, oh my God, this is my time to reinvent myself. I don't have to worry about people from middle school, because I went to this school with the same people from grade school until I graduated.
Middle school is hard. That's the hardest one too.
Right? And it wasn't, you know, the 80s.
Kids are not nice.
It's the late 70s and the 80s. So there was no like what you guys have now. When I went away to college and I started introducing myself and I would get into conversations with people, I still was really tentative about it. I didn't really talk about it. Your mother. Then I met her. I met your mother, and after dating her for about 3 weeks and thinking it was going to get kind of serious, I had to sit down with her. She tells the story much better
3
than
weeks?
me.
That's better than most guys these days, I'll tell you. 3 weeks and he knew it was getting serious.
Yeah,
I like that.
Well, it was 3 weeks. After 3 weeks of like being friends and kind of dating, I thought I wanted to move that next level. And I was like, if I'm going to do this with someone, I've got to be fully honest about who I am. She, like I said, she tells the story much better than me, but I sat her down and I was like, I have something to tell you. I think you're going to hate me forever, because that's what I was raised with, like thinking that, you know, I think you're going to hate me forever, but I have something to tell you. And she looks at me with these big eyes like, what are you about to tell me? And she'll tell it that she thought I was about to tell her that I murdered someone or something like that. And I said, look, I just want you to know, in my past, I have dated women and I've dated men. And she was like, okay. And I'm like, she's like, that's it? And I'm like, that's it. And she's like, I'm like, are you okay with that? She's like, whatever this is going on, I'm falling in love with and I like. So if that's part of who you are, that's part of who you are. Yeah. So that gave me the courage to come out to my family. You know, I called my parents, I called my sister, I called everyone I loved, and it didn't change. Nothing changed. My mom and dad actually made me a little upset, because I was like, I called them and I was thinking they were going to go, like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I said, you know, I have something I want to tell you. And I told them, and my mom is on the phone with me and she's like, Ralph, my dad. And she's like, this boy on the phone trying to tell me he's bisexual. Like, I didn't know the whole time he was growing up. And I'm like, if you would have just, because my mom and I talk about everything, but that was something we never went there. And I was like, if she would have done that back then, it would probably relax everything for me. My sister was just like not surprised, just part of who I've always been. And then it was just kind of like part of who I am. Like, it just came out of my mouth like water.
But I love in general, just to go back to you saying that with mommy, knowing that it was going to get serious, that you knew that you had to be open and honest with her her.
It's the first
about
time in my life
everything.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a beautiful thing to just have that trust in yourself and like have that courage to tell this person that you really want to get serious with who you fully are and something that you probably didn't accept or maybe not like about yourself for a while, you know, or have that.
Would pray that it would go away.
Exactly. But in general, it is beautiful though that Nana and Mommy and everyone was so accepting because, you know, we know a lot of people don't have that. And it's really hard if you feel like you don't have people that are going to accept you. So that was a beautiful thing that
you have close relationships that will stop if you say something.
But there is like that weird inner shame, I will say, that even I have as a bisexual woman where it's crazy. Like I came out to you.
You cried. Even though I'm a bisexual dad, you cried like, you're like, Daddy, I have something to tell you. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Because it's so weird. And I even came up in a more progressive time where it was more accepted. And we'll get into visibility once again and how it has even gotten better and better. Yeah, I bawled my eyes out to you because I was just, it's this weird inner shame that I don't know how it's in you, because I was even raised by parents who were so accepting and from a very young age, love who you love. You know, you are worthy of love in any capacity, in any form that you want it. So for me, it's very confusing to have that inner shame. To my dad, who is the first guy after you came out as a bisexual man? Well, no, I mean, you came out to Mommy and you were with her. So when you were in the closet, who was like the first guy you had a crush on?
Ooh, I mean, crushes started very early. Like that's one of the reasons I knew I was bisexual, because when I was in grade school, and you know, you get a crush on a girl to get a crush on a guy. The story about how I found out. But anyway, I always had a crush on like a male teacher and a female teacher, a boy in my class, a girl in my class. The first romantic relationship I had where I thought, whoa, was a guy named David.
That's crazy. That's my ex's name.
I know, and I never told you that before.
And my ex is a bisexual man. I'm like, did we date the same guy from past times?
No. He's a newscaster in some. I don't even know where he is. I know he became a newscaster, and he's like on the news somewhere. But that was my longest.
It was crazy.
That was my longest relationship. We were in a friend group, and it kind of slipped into like, hey, you about it? Yeah, you about it? You know, and that went on. I think that was my longest male relationship.
Yeah, but you didn't share it with other people. It
No,
was just
he was my best friend who stayed over every night.
Gotcha.
One of the things my mother...
So Nana probably knew.
That's one of the things she said. One of the things she said to my dad, when she said to me on the phone, she was like, did you think I think David was staying over all that time, all those different nights because you guys were just buddies? I'm like, oh...
She probably was just waiting for you to have like your moment. I'm sure that's how you were with me, because my first crush as well was my English teacher in like, I think 6th grade. I always knew as well, but yeah, you definitely were the person that I was like, I'm going to come out to you.
Do you know you came out to me twice?
What do you mean? Was I drunk the first time?
No.
I was like, did I black out?
You came out first around 7 or 8. You said to me with the big little eyes, Daddy, I might like guys and I might like girls. And I said, you wear Corlears. And I was like, so?
I don't even remember that.
I said, so what? What is that? What big deal? And they went away. You never said anything else about it. And then when you were probably about 15, 16-ish is when we had the more adult, when you cried to me. We were watching.
I'm about to cry now. I don't even remember that, but I'm like, little Kyra had the guts to do that. And of course, once again, to you is like.
We were watching Greatest Showman. And one of our favorite songs in Greatest Showman, if you got Greatest Showman fans, this is me.
That's the best song ever.
We're watching it. We're singing along to it. And all of a sudden, she got these tears in her eyes. And I'm like, what's wrong? You're like, Daddy. And I'm like, girl, why you
Daddy,
me?
The Greatest Showman just came out recently. I was not a little kid.
You were. The Greatest Showman was years ago. No.
I keep on looking at my brother's doing the sound and production. So if you see me laughing over here, it's to my brother.
That was the second time. The first time you went
No, I came out to you when I was sitting on the table and I came back from school and The Greatest Showman was not out yet.
That's when you were a little girl.
Daddy.
What?
The Greatest Showman just came out.
Do you remember in Baltimore you turned around crying to me when The Greatest Showman was on?
I guess I just maybe have a terrible freaking memory.
Yeah.
Your phone. When did it come out?
The Greatest Showman. No, that's when it was like a summer. I remember like it was just your friend was there.
Is it really that old of a movie?
Catherine was there, and you were
2017. No, I was 21.
No? Oh, wow.
I had already had a girlfriend, Daddy.
Wow. So maybe it was another movie. Maybe it was another movie.
Maybe your memory. You got to do some of those mind games on an app. We got to download them an app, broski. But
literally, you came out twice.
I'm sure but we do watch The Greatest Showman all the time, and it is one of our favorite movies because I think when you feel like an outcast or you're not the norm, like even growing up, I didn't see a lot of even bisexual women, lesbians, or if they showed it, I'm like, I keep on getting emotional. My voice gets choppy. I don't know why, but
And
I'm
it's
just
your nerves, because we're talking about.
No, I'm not nervous anymore. I just keep on getting emotional, like even talking about The Greatest Showman, because feeling like a misfit and not seeing people on the screen that look like you. Like even for a while, I questioned my sexuality because I can be very femme, and then some days I do want to throw on a snapback and be more masculine, but it's just so hard to feel accepted. And This Is Me, one of the songs from The Greatest Showman, I think we just always blast it because we both relate to it so much, and it just makes you feel like you matter, which is remind yourself you matter.
If any of you out there watch the movie and you're a fan, you know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah,
you know exactly what we're talking about.
So everyone reacted great, which is beautiful.
I was lucky. I was very blessed with that, because that's not always a situation.
Yeah, but going into it yourself, especially then, but marrying a woman, and of course, as you know, starting a family. I have two beautiful, amazing siblings as well. I'm the middle child. Middle child problems. Why I like to be in front of cameras, attention. No, I'm joking. 7 reality shows deep, but having kids and knowing that you were going to possibly have a son. Yeah. Did you feel like not being you're not a sporty guy? Yeah. I won't say you're not a masculine guy or like a macho guy, because what does that mean? But
I'm more into martial arts, less
you're
football.
more into doing your daughter's hair martial and creating clothes and
yoga.
Yeah,
Tai
so
Chi.
Maybe having a son come, did you ever feel like, oh, am I capable of being a dad? And this is not me saying like an opinion, but just like being able to relate to him if he was like that kind of guy.
A straight dude like he is.
Yeah. Who loves basketball and...
No, because you know what? I really, having children to me means you have to open yourself to things that you probably would never. That's what children do for us.
Yeah.
You've made me grow. Oh. Riley's made me grow. Tori's made me grow. And I think if you do parenting, I don't want to say the right way, but maybe one of the ways that makes you a better person is you grow with your children. So I always knew that if he was going to be into sports, and like I'm a basketball fan. I was never.
You are not
right. I remember your sister, because she's the oldest, and before he's 4 years younger than her or something like that. And we never had any sports in the house. And when he got into it, I remember her literally coming into the living room one afternoon and was like, what is basketball doing? Or what household? What has he done? So I always knew that, but I always tease him. I'd be a great dad for a gay guy. But
I know, I always say that. Do you sometimes wish, for the longest I actually thought I was a lesbian, and I just kind of in my early 20s realized that I liked men. Yeah. So having a son, do you almost wish like, oh, I wish, because there's so many men in the world that don't have a dad that would ever accept them being gay.
I said, I tease him. I'm wasted on him. But no, I think it's...
You're wasted on him.
I think it made a funny dynamic between the two of us. Yeah. That, him being so straight and me being like a bi dad and sometimes a little feminine with my stuff. And it just made for comedy for me. Yeah. And I think, you have to ask him, but I think it made for comedy for him too. And it was kind of something a little different. I don't know how he would say he felt about it, but that's the way I felt about it. I felt about it was kind of like a joking thing.
Well, what would be your advice to dads out in the world that have, a son in the LGBTQ plus community? Like advice that you could give them.
This is my advice
as someone in the community.
Okay, this is my advice to all parents. Y'all hear me? Love your children. Learn to love your children for who they are, not for what you want them to be. It took me a long time to learn that lesson. Like I said, at one point I was holding on a little too tight, and I really had to step back and say, yes, I have all these visions of how I thought their lives were going to turn out, and they have their own visions, and they're going to do that. So my advice is love them for who they are and not who you want them to be.
And you had to learn, I
had to learn that
as well. That's why I think
learning
maybe almost a full year, I didn't look this man in the eyes because we both had growing to do on our own sides, but like it was like meeting in the middle. And I think that's any relationship, family, friend, significant other, is just accepting people for who they are, having your boundaries, of course, and meeting them in the middle if it is a place where you guys can move to a point that works for both of you.
Yeah. And to me, family is different than friendship. That's the one difference. Like with a friend, if they piss you off and you don't speak for however long, I always say you see them and you kind of catch up. If you have a relative, if it's not toxic, if you have a relative, and when I mean toxic, I mean real toxic.
And I was about to say, if it's not a healthy situation, you can definitely cut family off.
With a relative, you have to fight to try not to let that happen, because when you have that time apart, and you do get back together, all you're going to talk about is the time we wasted and why didn't we work it out. So I think when it comes to family, you have to try extra hard to make it work.
As long as it's a safe place.
As long as it's a safe place.
I love that. I love all of that.
I love you. I love you.
I love you. I'm so happy you're my first guest. Let me get into Liddy over there.
Oh, no.
You're going to be telling people stuff that we don't want them to know. I'm joking.
That's editing.
We're going to tell you guys everything. After now doing podcasts, you guys are going to like know everything because I'm trying to be as unfiltered. Yeah. Unfiltered as possible. Okay. So this is like the most asked question on TikTok when I post a video of my dad. Everyone knows that he's bisexual, especially though when he's with my mom. I get these questions all the time where how if he's been in a marriage, in this committed relationship with your mom, which yes, they are monogamous. A lot of people say that as well.
That's one of the questions I want to answer.
Then you're bisexual, you like both, they must be swingers or they must be poly. And there's nothing wrong with that, but my parents are monogamous and committed to each other in that way.
I always say it's hard enough to deal with one relationship. I don't need two.
Yeah.
Or three.
But you know, if that fits your boat, do your thing.
Do your thing.
Literally, judgment-free zone
do
here.
Your thing, chicken wing.
But how do you feel when people are like, how are you bisexual if you've been married for 30 years?
Right. Well, that doesn't change my sexuality. That doesn't change what I'm attracted to. That just says about my commitment. Because I've been with a woman for 34 years doesn't mean that my bisexuality all of a sudden goes away.
Yeah.
You know, that's part of who I am. And I embrace that because for so long I didn't embrace it. That speaks to my commitment. And I'm a man that's committed. And, you know, I go back to also, because people are like, well, don't you feel like you're putting a part of yourself aside? Well, I don't have to, because like you said, I could have two relationships. I could find two people that would be okay with that.
Yeah.
But the decision I made was not to do that. Also, I feel like, and I have to bring it to you because she has a shirt line that I love. And the reason I love it, it's called what? Your line, your t-shirt.
Somewhere in the rainbow.
Somewhere in the rainbow. And when you were coming up with that and we were talking back and forth how you wanted to have something that embraced everyone. Yeah. That's the way I feel. Like I have several friends in the community, and I'm sorry, you talk about top and bottom. Well, I have friends who
don't apologize. This is an open conversation.
Oh yeah, but you said talk about who's the top, who's the bottom. I have friends who are, I would say, a little gay, and then I have friends who are very gay. What do I mean? Like I have a friend who he likes girls and guys, but he likes guys more, and this is a college friend.
It's a spectrum.
It's a spectrum,
and honestly, everyone's different. That's why I feel like I get so annoyed too when people are like, "Oh, what do you like more?"
Right.
Because to me, I just like people. But that's a preference of
for you,
me.
Right. For me, I've always preferred women. I find men attractive and, hey, but at the end of the day, I've always been more attracted to women. That's just always been my pendulum. It's not, I think it would be harder for me, to be honest, to be in a relationship with a guy than with a woman.
Because of society?
No, because of what my preference is, what my preference intimately is.
Well, like I said, it's all a spectrum, and you just have to live your truth. Yeah. And I think sometimes even more.
I don't care what society thinks. You should know that by now.
Well, you didn't always not care, and we are human. We care a little bit.
I stopped caring, literally. I stopped caring when I went away to school. And then once my family and my loved ones knew about me, and the person, my strongest person in my life, my wife who gave me not my wife at that time, gave me the courage to come out. After that, it was like, there's a saying, I always mess it up. Those who mind don't matter, and those who don't care, really care about you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say. I messed it up.
I still think though with society that there are things engraved into us that we don't even know in our subconscious because of stuff that we saw growing up.
Baby, one of the good things about getting older is you give less fucks.
I know, when I'm getting there. I'm getting there more and more. But I do think that there are things that we're not even aware of sometimes and why growing up in a family that was so accepting. My dad, literally a bisexual man, and I still had that inner shame when I came out to you and felt gross. And that sounds so terrible.
That's about your mom.
Yeah.
Your mom doesn't care about it. Like you talk about me, because I'm in the community. Your mom is an ally, as they call it. Ally. And she's stronger about it than me. Like she's just like, your mother. She's like, don't judge that person. Don't do this. She's really, my wife is one of the most open, try to not even think of people as race and gender and that stuff, So you've always just had her two strong parents who did that.
Yeah, and you made a strong ass.
That's right.
All
my children do that.
What stigmas that are true / aren't do you think are the most popular for bisexuals, especially bisexual men?
I think it is true. I think a lot of people are afraid to get involved with a bisexual person because this is another thing we hear all the time. How can Sherry deal with him being attracted to women and men? It's hard enough to worry if he was just attracted to women. Yeah. Now I got two pools. She's a very confident.
That's so crazy to me though. And I had someone say that to me last week, and I'm like, it's down to the person and if they are willing to be committed, if they're trustworthy, if you guys have the right boundaries, all that different stuff. Because any straight man can easily just be into women and still cheat more than a bisexual man that is committed, you know? So
I never thought about that. That is a true, like, all right.
It's like
I
saying
can
like
say
a guy likes
I've never had an affair. I'm saying here for because people always ask me. I've never, like, I'm not judging anybody, but
these days we're like, really?
but I know of so many of my male friends who were married, weren't attracted to both sex, and they've had affairs with and had divorces because of sleeping with another woman. So, you look at someone like bisexual and say, oh, they're never going to be able to.
Like we're more promiscuous or something. Yeah. Like it genuinely, because it's so over-sexualized, especially for women, you know, where you see two girls kissing on a show. It's usually, at least when I was growing up, it's getting way better now, but it was usually almost for the male gaze. It always felt like it wasn't for women.
Yes.
It wasn't to show their love. It was like the hot, sexy scene. So I think once again, that's like those things that are just like planted into our heads where then you have people that I won't say are uneducated, but it's like, oh, you're bisexual, so you're more promiscuous, or you can't be committed to one person because you like both sexes. No, it's just
not coming out yet. It's your
the
that's
transition?
Another one. That's another one I cannot stand.
You're on the journey of realizing.
I've been in a long transition.
And for some, they are scared to fully, come out and opener. So everyone's own journey. But when someone comes to you and they say their sexuality, I think it's just so terrible to question that. And it's really harmful also for people to feel like they can be themselves and also be attached to who they truly are. It's just, someone said that to me the other day. They're like, you're barely out of Straightville. And I was like, what are you talking about? What does that mean? And it hit my insecurities once again of being like, oh, I didn't look like the girls that were into girls on my TV screen. So maybe I'm not into girls, or maybe I should dress a certain type of way so people know and I'm more accepted in the community. Like, no.
Because we get it from both sides.
Yeah.
We get it from the straight people. We get from the straight people, oh, you're just a freak. And from the community, we get...
Not all, but
I'm generalizing because we're talking about stereotypes.
Yeah, stereotypes.
So I'm generalizing. And then from the community, we get, oh, you're just not there yet.
Yeah. It's like, it's already so hard to come out and be yourself. Let's not judge each other like inside of the community, that is something that I will never understand, but it's very prevalent and happens to this day. It happens to me all the freaking time. And like bouncing off of that, do you feel like people in the community may look at you and your sexuality a little differently because you're in like a heterosexual relationship?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I am told all the time, no, you're not. Either I've been masking myself this whole time with your mother, or I'm a freak. I'm just not bisexual. I'm just that I dabbled in college.
Yeah. Thankfully to you guys, the majority of you, our community over on that other platform that we all love so much, like you guys are very loving and accepting. So don't ever think that we're like giving any of this to you, but it's always just an honest kind of conversation of our personal journeys and what we've gone through.
And I feel like what we're talking about is like I could sit here and talk about all this positive support I get on especially on TikTok. It's lovely. But what we're talking about, I feel like, is the negative comments we get where we have to delete or block.
Because it's crazy when you post your life on the internet, which I kind of do. And I mean, I've always used it as a journal. It's self-expression for me. I never always felt like I had that community around me, even friend-wise, that I was able to build that on social media with all of you guys. And I really am so grateful for it.
Well, can I ask you a question about that? Because literally, people say when you post your life, you get what you deserve. You get what you deserve when people say
that's
things.
what I was saying. But it's like, yes, you're opening yourself up. People are going to have judgments. People are going to say things. But it's so crazy. One comment out of 500. The rest are great. That one comment I will think about for like a week. It's really hard, and it's usually a profile with no photo, or strangely enough, like a man with wife and kids, or like families. And I'm like, why are a parent? And I'm like, why are you on my mid-20-year-old booties page right now trying to like take me down a peg or judge me for who I am? And the internet is a beautiful place because it brings everyone together and we can have conversations like this, but it's also, you have to be aware that we do in a way sign ourselves up for judgment.
Do we sign ourselves up for a situation of freeing people to be toxic? I don't know if I totally agree with that. For instance, in middle school, because we talk about middle school. If I go to middle school one day and I decide to wear a purple bouffant wig and walk down the hall,
work.
Is that saying you're opening yourself to be teased then?
I get what you're saying.
No, I'm not. I'm expressing myself. I'm not opening myself for not yours, but toxicity from other people. I don't totally agree with that. I don't think anytime bullying people, especially from behind the screen, just because you're sharing your life and you're happy with your life and you're sharing it, opens you up to it's okay for people to be toxic.
Well, I just block.
Me too.
And people will be like, oh.
But don't you want to comment? Sometimes I'm like, I have to rise above. I got to do Michelle Obama. I got to go high.
I think everything is like an energy transfer. So even responding to those people is an energy transfer. And also I think when people reach out and they say really bad things, I feel for them because you must be in a really, really sad place in your life that you feel the need to say something mean to someone that you don't even know or think that you know.
But I know I twitch you guys to go high and I go high, but sometimes it would feel really good to get dirty with them.
I've definitely gone low, trust me. But most of the time I will just block, and then people are like, you're so weird for blocking. And I don't care. I want to protect my energy. And like I said, the majority of you guys are so sweet, and I'm so grateful for that. Yeah. Literally, so blessed.
We are.
So grateful for you guys.
And not only that, for you guys who are defensive too. You see other people making comments that they shouldn't. You guys are like, oh no, don't go there.
Did you have any like childhood celebrity crushes?
Ooh, Lee Majors.
Okay.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, okay. I know Fair because we're Charlie's Angels family, the original.
Yeah, $6 Million Man was her husband. And also Tom Jones.
Okay.
And play Wonder Woman, Linda Carter.
Oh. Did you have any celebrities that were out that you had a crush on? Bisexual men? Any?
Oh, there was, I can't remember his name. It's a very famous author.
And not in the closet, and then you found out. Like you were able to see someone visibly on your TV screen that you could relate to in that way.
Baldwin. You're gonna laugh when people look him up. James Baldwin, I think his name is.
What was his?
He's an author. He's a writer, and he was very famous in the 60s, going into the 70s, speaking about black rights. And he was an out gay man. And I just found him. People wouldn't say he was very attractive, but his passion for how he spoke about James Baldwin, how he spoke about things, and I had a crush on him.
I love that, and he was out.
Yeah, he was out.
But could you, like, on one hand, could you count out bisexual men that you were able to see?
Well, there was no
on your TV screen.
There was no bisexual.
So, and that's what I want to even get into, because
I grew up in a period of women. If people were in the room, especially guys, and they saw two women kiss, it was like ooh. But when they started having two men kiss, oh my God! And I used to say to them, just before I came out,
I think it's hot. I don't care.
I would say to people when I was younger, before I even came out, I would even challenge and say, what is the difference? Oh, that's different when two girls kiss versus two guys. What is the what? Yeah. What? I never understood that.
But that's the thing. Even for me, I saw visibility of like girls kissing, but it was always, I think, in a sexualized way. Do you feel like though it's getting better of us seeing more visibility?
I feel like it's getting better, but I feel like I feel overall it's getting better with most people, because there's not a family that you can meet these days, because people are out of the closet that doesn't have a gay, bisexual in the family situation. You can accept it or not, but it's really hard to find a family that doesn't have. I do feel like there's this very vocal, small group of people that are seeing the change and are pushing back. But I felt like that's the same thing that went on with black people, like in the 60s and late 70s, where a lot of the black rights started. You had a huge pushback. Look about Obama. We have a black president. Look what came right after.
You're getting political.
Right? No, it's just a pushback. I'm just saying, I'm not going to get political. It's just a pushback. And I feel like right now, look what happened with Target. I feel like right now, because things are changing and people are becoming more acceptable, you have this very small group that are like, no, I like things the way they were. Go back into the closet.
But I do think it is changing for the better. But like you said, people will see a Target commercial or a Dove commercial, and there's two women with their kids or two men with their kids, and people are like,
back in the day.
Or I'm not shopping from there anymore, and it's almost like a rebel. But I do think that there is a bigger group, or at least I want to believe that there's a bigger group that
definitely
times are definitely changing, and I do think that my daughters one day, my sons, or whatever they want to be, are going to have people on their TV screens that they can relate to besides mommy and mommy, or if I'm in a heterosexual relationship that they can relate to.
But don't get me wrong. It's still, my son Riley gets upset when I say this. It's a slow thing. And, I'm at the age where I do see things slowly changing. I know things are much better for the community than when I was your age. Yeah. And my son's age. Things do
still a lot of work to do. But
still a lot of work.
I think that's where these conversations and just being open and learning more whenever people ask questions, or they say, oh, is your dad a swinger? Oh, how is your dad bisexual if he's been with your mom for this long? I never get angry at the questions. Those are still respectful questions to me, because yes, of course you can educate yourself. We all know that. But I'm very okay to do that on my platform. I'm very okay for people to really ask those questions and for me to get them honest answers. I will never react in a negative way unless you're commenting it in a negative way. But so always put questions down below in the videos if you have more questions for me to ask. All right, we had to take a little break because he had to get a new glass of wine. I'll be joining you after, but I was too nervous. I would have been slurring over here.
It's making me calm about these questions, because sometimes I flash back to, oh my God, when I was your age and answering questions like this, maybe a little younger, it was just such a taboo.
Yeah.
And now I just feel so free to like be who I am. And you know what? That's how I say how kids make you grow. Because even though my mom was accepted in my family, but you've made me grow, being a part of the community and us having that together, you know? So I thank you for that. And thank you for the opportunity of like, you know,
I'm just
doing something
doing
like
amazing. And I'm so grateful that you said yes to coming over and doing this with me.
Let's do it. Let's go.
And
Next
taking
question.
time away from your woman, because I know how obsessed you are.
You know, I want her in my back pocket. She needs space. I don't need space. I like it like this. There's no space between us.
All right. Next question.
What movie was that? There's no space between
Daddy,
us.
that first glass hitting right now.
Okay.
Why do you think that you were the first person that I came out to? And then were you surprised at all?
I wasn't surprised. Like I said, because when you were younger, we had that little conversation where I think you were trying to shock me, which I don't know why you would shock me. I think sometimes you just would forget when you were younger. You know,
I still forget everything.
And no, forget that your dad's bisexual, because it wasn't something I threw in your face. So I think when you said that to me, you probably were young and you didn't even remember. I was just like, I think just because me being a part of the community, you felt safe with me, and we had talked about, as you grew up, some of the struggles I had with being open myself. You know, so I think you were like, well, he's going to understand. Like your mom, you knew would understand too and love you no matter what. She'd be like, girl, whatever. Yeah. You know, but I think with me, it was more of a thing of like, he will get it, you know.
And we've grown a lot from it, but I do think for a while, you were very strict with us and on us. And we can talk about this in a different conversation, like expected a lot and expected certain things that didn't always align with me. So I think in a way too, I was like, is this going to be okay? And like we've had conversations and grown from it and finding my truth and like his, and like I said, meeting in the middle of what he saw my life to be. So I guess maybe that's what it was, where I was kind of nervous in that way and came to you and wanted to see a reaction, because obviously like your parents, they hold so much value in like feeling good about yourself. If they're proud of you, it really does make you happier. So I'm so grateful for my parents and that they accept me, and I feel for the people that don't have that support system. But like I said, one day you can create your own family and be that for your kids, and then your kids grow up enough, I think, especially to like where we're getting, that we can support you right back and love you right back, and
that's a beautiful blessing.
Tell you how amazing you are, like that your kids can give that back to you at a certain age. So you can create that as well. But
also, I think if you want your kids to respect you, one of the things you have to grow out of just telling them what to do and actually living that life, because they see you. Yeah. And your adult children will call you out. What, you want me to do such and such? Are you doing blah, blah?
Yeah.
You know,
so very true.
So, you know, you have to kind of grow with
Daddy,
that too.
Reel it in.
Exactly.
Y'all know.
Like, you know, I have to say.
Man, it's crazy.
Yeah. And look, you guys see the fun side of me. Growing up, you know, I was a strict dad. You know, I was very fun. But, you know, I was raised in a household different from your mom, a household where, you know, your parents say jump, you say how high. You know, and your mother was raised in a household where you could speak your piece. Yeah. So I had to get kind of used to that, because she was raising children to speak your piece. And I was like, what'd you say?
And a very religious background. More than that, do you feel like someone can have their faith, their religion, and come out? Like we're spiritual, you know? My mom was raised Jewish. My dad was raised Christian. So I have faith and I believe in what I believe in. But do you feel like someone can grow up in your background, stay in that religious side of it, and come out?
Now, out of all the questions, this is to me, it's a very, I still struggle because I am very spiritual. But I have to say, I was raised, you know, very religious. Saturday church school, Sunday church school, church on Wednesdays, three different things on Sunday. And a lot of me growing up was hearing the preacher in the pulpit. See, this is getting very controversial, but I'm gonna speak my truth. The preacher in the pulpit preaching how wrong it was to feel the way I feel, which made me hate myself for a long time, longer than I wanted to. I would say until I met your mother and came out. So that was really hard, being very devout to my religion and believing everything and loving God and Jesus and reading my Bible. But then you have this person standing up there telling me that this part of me is like a demon and is evil. That hurt. And then my thing is that I read the Bible, and what I see in the Bible is that all sins are equal. And here this reverend stand up here telling me this, and I know he's had affairs with people because people talk in church.
I'm like, are we going to keep this
people
in?
Talk in church. Well, you do whatever you want to do with it. Gluttony is a sin just as much as supposedly being gay or whatever. And he's got 3 cars. Suits and rings all over his finger. So you're preaching against one sin and telling me I'm bad. Well, I know you're committing other sins. You're just spotlighting on something because society is telling you to spotlight on it and pulling people together. So that really was hard for me. So I didn't want to lose my religion and my faith in God and how I feel spiritual. So what I did was I raised my kids with all the beliefs. Be a good person. Do unto others as you do. Don't lie. Be truthful, with all these wonderful things without the backlash of of hating yourself.
Yeah. And of course, everyone's experience with their churches is different.
I'm talking about
so that
my
was his experience.
Yeah.
So we're not saying that all of them are like that, but I do think it's a beautiful thing to still hold on to that faith and hold on to the values and the beliefs, but still live your truth.
I hold on to my faith without the self-judgment.
Yeah. And you can have your place of gratitude and all these different things, whether you're going to church or you're doing it in your bed. I always say, however you want to practice your faith is beautiful and great. I was like, oh, are we going to get controversial? Being a Black man as well, do you feel like that has made it harder for you? My throat just gurgled. Sorry. Do you feel like that has in ways, in the Black community, does that make it harder? Or no, you haven't had that experience?
I would say before leaving my small town growing up, yes, I never thought about that. Now as a Black man, no. And then that's I would say many years, no. But yes, in the Black community growing up, especially during the 70s and the 80s, if somebody didn't throw right, you throw like a girl, or, like those kind of things that you hear from your uncles and cousins growing up when
and
someone.
It's like a negative.
Right, when someone was being a little more feminine. So what that made me do, I wasn't a big sports fan, what that made me do is get into martial arts. Because even if I was going to be a little feminine, I don't like taking shit. So if you're going to say something to me, I was going to kick your ass.
Say it to my face.
Right, exactly. So me being a tall guy, like I'm 6'2.5", so I was like springing up.
Yeah.
So no one dared, even if I painted my nails or did something in the 80s that was a little more feminine, I was always like a group of friends, the same people, and they knew, he's a black belt. Don't fuck with him.
That reminded me too of I think it was middle school, and this girl was bullying the BS out of me. I remember she was like, I'm gonna fight you tomorrow. Meet me here at this time. And I don't know if you remember this, but I was like, what do I do? I can't fight. You're like, first of all, we need to put you in karate classes. Yeah. And then number two, you're like, you need to show up. Yeah. Otherwise, she's gonna think that you're scared.
She can torture you for the rest of your life.
And what did I do? I was terrified.
What you don't know about that story is I was watching outside the whole time, like peeking on you, because I was like, this little girl show up, I'm getting my door. But you showed up.
Yeah. But I showed up. And I waited there for 5 minutes. Homegirl didn't even show up.
Because would you a bully do?
In your face. I don't know violence, but
no violence.
I just thought that was so funny.
You showed up, but I guarantee you, if you didn't show up for the rest of that school year, she was going to be on you.
She was just jealous of my hair. She said I had a weave and that my hair was fake. I said I bought it, girl. So get out of my face. And then she was like, I'm gonna
You need to hate us. Hate us.
Okay. What advice would you give to a fellow young man that, or men of all ages that are scared to come out and don't feel like they have anyone to talk to?
I'm going to break that into two. If you're living at home and you depend on the people that are raising you to eat, to live, to sleep, before you come out to those people that kind of control your life, make sure you have a safe place. Just in case it doesn't turn out like my story where my parents were accepting or Kyra's parents. Some parents are just not going to be accepting. Might not ever. Hopefully it just take them a minute, but might not ever. Have a safe place to go. That if that conversation doesn't go the way you want it to go, that you go there.
And I'll list below some resources for if you do need someone to talk to, that you can get help or get advice or just have someone if you don't feel like it's a safe place.
Right. Now, child, if you pay your own bills, you're your own boss. If they can't get with the program, see your way out. That would be my advice. Be you. Life is too short for you to live your life for someone else's thoughts or dreams or what they think or what box they want to put you in. Trust me. The more and more I become me and who I want to truly be in my life, long as it's not hurting anybody else, is the happier I am every day. So if you're paying your own bills and doing your own thing, if they can't get with the program, you don't need them in your life.
What if it's not, the people around them, but that inner shame that we were talking about earlier, where they don't want to accept it?
I used to pray, as they say, pray to get away.
I have never heard that.
You never heard that?
It makes me so sad that you did that too.
I was raised very religious.
Yeah.
And it was pray the gay away. And look, I didn't even know what bisexual was. And I just thought I was a freak. Because growing up before the age of 12, 13, again, late 70s, early, I don't know what bisexual was. Yeah. I knew there were straight people and I knew there were gay people that people, that's all I knew. Yeah. The way that I found out about bisexuality, I was with an older cousin who had a Playboy magazine, and he was flipping through the Playboy magazine, reading about the centerfold, and he said, oh, she's bisexual. I'm like, trying not to what is that? Yeah. Oh, that means she's into girls and guys. I had to literally play in my face not to be almost like, oh my God, there's other people like me.
And that's why the visibility is so important, because if you don't have that, you feel alone. And that's the worst thing to feel in this world, is to feel like you don't have a community and you don't have a place in this world where you're accepted. And all that we want as humans is to find people, honestly, and it's true, that have the same beliefs, the same core values, that have even maybe, you know, when they say like a couple looks like siblings, like sometimes people literally want people that look like themselves. Like you just want to feel like there is something in this world that you can relate to and feel secure in.
Well, babe, that's what goes back to when we first started talking. You said that people always like, well, why do you always put your bisexual dad?
Oh, yeah.
That goes right back to that, because you want people to see it, because you want them to feel not alone and like they're the only one.
Exactly.
And it's not like I care that you say that, you know, you want people to see that this is a father who has a committed relationship, a long committed relationship to my mother, who loves his kids, and you throw this little thing in the mix where people wouldn't put that in the mix. You wouldn't see that on a network TV show. You wouldn't see that really in the movies, but this is my real life, and this, you want people, we want to share that.
Yeah.
So it could be very easy for you, me being in a heterosexual relationship, not to say that.
Yeah.
Things would be easier for you if you did not say it. But the fact that you want to say it is you want other people out there to be like, oh, so I can do that and I can be who I am.
I guess the majority of the comments are always so beautiful, but a lot of the time people are like, oh, you're doing this for views and stuff like that. But I'm sorry. Growing up, once again, my voice is doing that thing.
And if it is for
trying
views,
not to cry.
if it is for views, great. More people see it. Great. Yay.
To me, it's truly being that little girl and not seeing it enough on my TV screen and the people that I looked up to. And I want to do that. Yep. That is my main goal, honestly, was first to get onto social media, to feel accepted myself and find a community when I didn't really feel like that. I was way more introverted than I am now, you know, growing up. But in general, it is to bring awareness to things that I believe in. And I think we are a family that we stick by each other, we trust each other, we love each other, and we accept each other for all the things.
We can get all each other's nerves, but we love each other.
Sometimes I swear. But for you guys to maybe feel like we can be a community, and what do they say? Their internet family, or can we get adopted by the Greens? Like, this is where you can get adopted. This is where we can have those conversations that growing up we would have at the dinner table. We were not allowed to have phones at the table, but it was because we all lived different lives when you're in a big family. So when you sit down and you eat food together, it's such a time to like talk to each other and communicate. And I remember
people still think that's crazy, Kyra, that we had dinner like as long as we could.
Yeah.
We until your late teens, we would have dinner together as a family, no phones, every night.
Yeah.
You know, and it was, people would say, oh my God, you guys didn't have any phones. I mean, I don't think it was as big when you guys were that young, but I think it's a good thing to have.
My sister Tori was always on her phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just, I remember having, you know, not every day was bad, but you know, teenage hormones and all that stuff, and just feeling. Also, school is hard because people can be really, really cruel at that time in your life, and you're just trying to like survive. And I just remember always coming home and I would get so excited because I knew by the end of dinner, being able to talk, eat mommy's food, and just like have time with my family in a safe place. I could go to sleep that night, lay my head on the pillow, and be like, okay, I'm ending it. Even if I got bullied or like felt some type of way or failed a test, like at least I'm going to sleep and I have my family, and we were able to talk. When did you ever fail a
test? She was a straight A student. When did you ever fail a test?
I'm just saying examples.
Okay.
But yeah, straight A student. But I mean, daddy, thank you so much.
This is over?
I know, I'm like, I could talk here all day, but my brother's doing the whole production and editing. I don't want to make his life a nightmare. Many more to come. Many more conversations to be had.
By the way, your outfit, girl.
Thank you.
I need a powder like you, though. I'm a little shiny.
I know. I should have put some powder on your face. Should we do my dad's makeup next episode?
Makeup. No,
thank you so much. I'm so happy that you were my first guest and that you felt open enough to come on here and share. And we're just going to get deeper and deeper each time and get to know you guys more. And
thank you. Thank you. I love you too, baby. And thank you so much, because stuff like this makes me grow too. Because even sitting here talking, I know we have these conversations together, but every time we do, I something else clicks in my mind. Oh yeah, that's why this is, and this is why that is. So thank you for being you and pushing me to be me. I love you too.
Thank you guys if you've made it this far, or the first 10 seconds. I don't really care. I'm so excited for this. Many more videos to come. I love you all. Who do you want to see next? And we're going to go to dinner now, with our family and have that time.
Yeah, I'm always say what I said to you guys. Be kind to yourself and don't hide from yourself, because you got to always look in the mirror, baby.
And what do we say to wrap this beautiful podcast?
Thank you for having Coffee with Kyra.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye, guys.